Hello everyone and welcome to the Learn Chinese Facebook page and YouTube channel. And if you're watching from China, hello and hello to our friends on Weibo. Today we are going green. We are actually visiting one of the largest electric car makers in China, which is Bike Group's BJEV. The name itself is quite self-explanatory. Of course, BJEV stands for Beijing Electric Vehicle. And today I have some friends with me. So first here, this is Pearl. Would you like to say hello to our friends?
Hi everyone, my name is Pearl Zanele Butelezi.
And also we are joined by two friends from the BJEV company. And they are Mr. Cao. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, this is Nan. I work for BJEV and I'm also owner of the electric vehicles for 5 years.
And here is Mr. Jiang, also from the BJEV company.
各位观众朋友们，大家好，我呢是除了英文不好，其他都好的姜维，负责这边的一个品牌工作。
So this is Mr. Jiang Wei or David, his English name. He just said that although I'm not very good at English, but I'm good at everything else. Welcome, gentlemen, and Pearl. So we're very happy to be visiting BJEV today, and you can see behind me we have one of their super sports cars. And now I would like to invite our gentleman to tell us a little bit about this company as well as this car model.
Actually, this car is a pretty cool car. It's actually our supermodel of the electric vehicles, and it's all electric and it's all handmade and with all the carbon fibers of the car. And this car is actually a beast. They have six motors and drive individually of these 4 wheels, and this car can drive from 0 to 100 kilometers within 2.5 seconds. It's an extremely fast car. The technology all based on the Formula E technology. It's all started from a pure race car.
Yeah, even race cars are going green, going electric.
Yeah, it's going electric, yeah.
Yeah, and being such a big company, BJEV actually makes a lot more than just this race car model. So let's just go outside and check out some of the other cars that this company has.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Yeah, let's go.
英文不好没关系吧？
你直接说。
And maybe let's talk about how long has this company been operating? When was it opened?
大概介绍一下咱们公司的一个基本情况，什么时候成立的？
OK， 这家公司呢是世界500强企业排名第134的北京的一家子公司。这家09年到现在呢，大概已经是12个年头了。它是整个中国最大的一块新能源汽车板块的这样的一个企业。到现在我们整个的一个发展状况呢，在市场规模上，我们已经有52万辆的这样的一个整车规模。
And besides this race car,
Excuse me, please allow me to explain that.
Oh, sorry. Yes, of course, of course.
Yeah, so Mr. Jiang just told me that this company has a history of 12 years and it's one of the largest and major car makers in China. Now there are around 520,000 BJEV cars altogether in China, and it's one of the world's top 500 companies.
Wow.
我们来看一下产品。
Okay, so yeah, these gentlemen
yeah.
will now show us some of their cars.
This is actually our latest product. We call it. The brand name of it is Aquafox. It's called Alpha T, and it's actually our 5th generation of our products, and you can just feel it. It's an extremely good car.
What makes it good?
What makes it good? Probably, I recommend you to feel it.
Shall we?
Yeah,
Let's go. Okay, wow.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful inside. I love the leather seats.
And the good thing about it, you can just sit steady and press it.
And start it here.
Yeah,
okay.
You can feel it.
Make
The
sure to
steering wheel is
buckle up.
ready for you.
Safety always comes first.
Oh yes, of course. Whenever you get into a car, buckle up, everyone. There we go. Easy. Okay, so let me know, what am I looking at here? I can see the steering wheel, which is good. It's at a good height.
Yeah.
And then the screen.
The screen, yeah. This screen is actually a very important feature of this product, and you can connect to the internet, connect to nearly everything, and it's totally high definition screen, and you can see lots of great videos in great qualities within it, and I can set it back.
Okay, and I can see that it's very easy to use. Everything is very clear.
Yeah, you can
we have a camera here that shows us the exterior.
Yeah, you can see all around the environment. So it's actually very friendly to the users, and it can help you to avoid to crash something that
oh
you
yes,
say. Yeah.
that's very important.
And you can just see me on the back. It's actually the space of this vehicle is extremely big. So and it's a really good car for the families. You know, I have 2 babies, and they sit right on the back side. It's really great for them.
There is a lot of room back there for it's a great family car. So.
Yeah, great family car, and actually the performance of this vehicle is really good. You can accelerate within from 0 to 100 kilometers within 5 seconds. And
oh wow!
It's a really fast car. It's actually, I think the performance of this vehicle is pretty similar to that of the Tesla Model X. Yeah, but with relatively small size. But you know, driving experience is extremely good.
And can you tell us about its battery?
The battery is about 90 kilowatt hours. You can drive it as long as 650 kilometers with the range.
And that's under ideal conditions, but what about the average consumption of this car?
Actually, you know, if you say it's ideal, you know, last week I drove it to Zhangjiakou, about 200 kilometers away, and the range is over. In winter, I opened the air conditioner with my daughter, and it's totally can drive about 500 kilometers.
Oh, that's really good for such a big car.
Yeah.
I always assume that bigger cars have higher consumption, so it's surprising that this one can go above 500 kilometers.
Anyway, in a lower temperature, in such a low temperature, and it's really cold environment.
Yeah. For some of you that may not know a lot about EVs, the range and the battery capacity depends a lot on the temperature.
Yeah.
And when it's really cold, some part of the battery becomes unavailable. So what it actually shows on the screen may not be lower than what the battery actually has.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very useful.
Yeah, and another good point of this car is that it's autonomous driving system, and you know, last week I drove near the highway. So
I can just cruise and let go of the steering and just
you have a ride,
sleep if I want to.
Yeah, you know, I think if you want to get a driver license, the coach must tell you cannot watch your phone when you drive. But actually, when you open the autonomous drive, you can just
look around.
Yeah, look around.
Check what the kids are doing at the back.
That's extremely important.
If they are being naughty, you shout at them, stop it, and then you turn. Everything will be okay. You won't crash.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good. You can send some food to them, and you can just walk around, and you can just show the cartoons for them on the screen, and they really enjoy it. Yeah,
all these features are possible because this is an EV, an electric vehicle. EVs actually have a lot more advantages, and the biggest one, I think one of the best things about EVs is that they have zero emission. Because we all know that China is committed to peak its carbon emissions by 2030 and go carbon neutral by 2060. So if we have a lot a lot more EVs on the road, I think that will really help with that goal and producing no emissions, and they go fast. And later we'll show you how to charge an EV, and charging is not as hard as some of you may think, especially now in such a big metropolitan like Beijing. I have no problem charging whatsoever.
Yeah, this actually a heaven for the electric vehicle drivers.
Yes, we have some chargers outside, so now let's go and check them out.
Let's go.
没说是不是？OK， 我来补充几点。我们还是同样看一下这辆车。这辆车可能我们的观众朋友会发现，这辆车特别像保时捷的 Macan。能翻译吗？
现在就还是您在。
对对对。
Mr. Jiang would like to add a few more points that he said some of you may be familiar, may think this car looks familiar and it looks like a Porsche.
因为这款车它的设计师呢是全球顶级设计师德希尔瓦先生，他的身份呢就是前大众集团的设计总监，首席设计总监。
The designer of this car is one of the world's top designers, and he used to serve as the chief designer at Volkswagen.
另外，整车呢，它也是由Magna 给我们做的一个整车调教和制造。这个 Magna 呢是做的奔驰大 G、宝马5系等等这种车型的一个代工。
This car, the makers of this car have a lot of experience with some of the well-known car makers such as BMW and Mercedes-Benz.
所以整车除了它的造型，包括它的性能等等，这个已经是达到了顶级的水平。
He is sure that everything about this car is top level, and you will not be disappointed about everything from the exterior and to its performance.
我们的目标就是打造一款全球最好的电动汽车。
BJEV is committed to produce a world-class electric vehicle that can serve the global market.
让所有的人视线当中不只有特斯拉，还有我们的 Arcfox。
They want to compete with Tesla and want to become a better company.
Okay.
So how close are you towards becoming, the best or matching what Tesla has done so far?
来，帮我翻译一下，帮我翻译一下。
就是说现在咱们离那个特斯拉或者是一些别的车企差距还有多远？
我们的认为呢，其实我们没有跟他们有产生什么样的差距。没有产生什么样的差距。首先呢，我们的造车的品质，我们是地地道道的真正去造车的这样的一个企业，所以我们对于车的品控做的是非常好的，是一流的，甚至超越于特斯拉的。
Actually, we don't think we have such a big range to that of Tesla, because the quality management is extremely important for us. We have lots of experience on the manufacturing of the electric vehicles, and for the quality part, actually we performance better than that of Tesla. I think.
甚至说在整个的智能网联这一点的话，我们还有华为去给我们做整车的一个加持，所以我们在智能网联还有车的品控来说的话，我们都已经做到了顶级，所以我们跟特斯拉之间在这一点上是不存在差距的。
Actually, this car is not only a vehicle; it's not only an electric vehicle; it's also a smart vehicle. And we cooperate with Huawei to build this smart system, the smart system of this vehicle, including the screen and the autonomous driving system. So in this way, Huawei's technology is pretty good, and we have in this part we have catch up with Tesla, I think.
Oh, that's very good. Yeah.
Well, thank you for such detailed introductions about the vehicles. And now, could you show us how the charging network or how the chargers work?
Of course we can.
Yeah, there are a lot more models from BJEV, and this company is very heavily involved in China's ongoing political session this year. Not only because it is such a big company, it also provides both this company and its parent company, Back Group. They both provide vehicles and ferry political advisors and NPC deputies during the 2 sessions. And that one, which we just walked by, is one of the cars being used for the deputies and advisors.
而且在这里边，我也可以强调一点，特斯拉从去年走入到中国，它的销量可以一路走高，包括它的品牌可以做得这么好，除了本身它自身的造车还有它的自动驾驶方面有优势之外，还有一部分呢也是跟我们这个企业有一些相关性的。前面我已经跟大家介绍过，我们这个企业呢已经有52万辆这样的一个销量的一个规模。其实在中国可以说是全球最大的电动汽车的一个消费市场。在这个市场当中，我们从09年到现在，对于这个市场的培育是非常非常完善的。可以说，我们对于整个中国对于这种充电设施、公共充电桩、私人充电桩、充换电站等等各方面呢，已经做了一个市场的培育，让大家对于电动车已经没有了那种里程焦虑啊、充电难呢等等这些问题，所以我们培育了非常好的市场，也助推了特斯拉在中国销量的一个大增。
Yeah, to follow up on the point that Mr. Jiang just mentioned, China is the world's top market for electric vehicles in terms of the number of vehicles produced and sold. It's held that position for 6 consecutive years, and BJEV is committed to expanding the Chinese EV market, including the charging network and its fleet on the road. We know that all the electric taxis in Beijing are also provided by BJEV, and the plan is to replace all 70,000 taxis in Beijing with electric ones.
有人会觉得我们跟特斯拉是一个竞争对手的一个关系，但是在我看来，在这个企业看来的话，它不是这样的一个关系，因为我们觉得电动汽车这个市场呢，它是一个巨大的蛋糕，是有非常广阔的一个市场空间。如果说我们非要有一个竞争对手的话，我们觉得应该是传统燃油车。
The company is competing not with other electric car makers such as Tesla. They think that they're really competing with traditional fossil fuel car companies, and the electric car company has a lot of potential because there are a lot of supportive policies, and China has offered I think around 60 supportive policies for electric vehicles, and if you get an electric vehicle in China, you also get a lot of subsidies and tax exemption as well.
所以我们觉得呢，对于我们而言，我们做的不仅仅是一个产品，我们真正的是做出了一个市场，让所有的消费者、所有的用户能够用到一个特别好的这样的一个产品。
The goal of this company is to provide a good product that is suitable to the market's demand.
And why have your cars become so popular with the taxi industry, the transport industry?
为什么咱们公司的车现在提供了这么多出租车？为什么在这一方面有这么大的优势呢？
是这样的啊，只要谈及的，您稍等，只要谈及到这个电动车呀，我们其实肩负着几个责任，其中一个责任呢就是绿色环保，出租车应用于出租车有几点原因。第一个原因呢，放到出租车上，它这个是一个运营型的一个车辆，它的规模直接就很大，所以我们可以用出租车这样一个市场作为我们消费者的一个市场的一个培育期，就先用这种，因为出租车呢，它的使用的耐久性要求是非常高的。如果我们做出一个产品能够足够好，让它能够胜任出租车这样的一个作用，所以消费者去购买这个东西的时候，它会建立你的心里面的一个欲望。
They're exploring exploring the taxi market because the vehicles that are used have a longer life cycle, and they think this is a good point to start to cultivate a market that will expand.
而且回归到环保这一点来说的话，举例子就北京来说吧，北京目前整个出租车市场的规模呢，它大概有7万辆的一个市场的一个规模。现在我们已经投入到出租车行业里边呢，大概已经有了超过8000辆。
For example, in Beijing, there are over 8,000 electric taxis that are provided by this company.
预计呢，3到5年左右，北京这边所有的出租车将会全部换成新能源汽车，也是我们的纯电动汽车。
So I just mentioned that Beijing is aiming to replace all its 70,000 taxis with electric vehicles, and that will be completed within 3 to 5 years, and all electric vehicles will be provided by BJEV. Okay, so this is the place we're at right now. Today we are actually at the research and development headquarters of the BJEV company, and this place is called the Blue Park.
蓝谷我们取意呢叫做中国蓝谷，是做中国的环保型的这样的一个硅谷。这个谷直接对标的就是这个美国的硅谷，所以我们称之为中国蓝谷。我们把它呢是一个环保型的一个硅谷，是一个科技型企业。我们做的所有的围绕的目标都是为了环保，然后为了科技，为了助推整个人类以后的发展，包括我们出行这一个方向的一个发展。
And Langu here, Blue Park in English, is actually it got its name from the Silicon Valley, which is Guigu in Chinese. So they both have gu in it, and this is the Chinese Valley or Chinese Blue Park. And their goal or their commitment is to provide technological, innovative cars to the world, and they evolve around innovation, technology, and clean energy.
You can say actually today's weather, sky is actually not blue, it's a bit gray, so our goal is actually to make it more blue. So that is the reason why nearly all of the color of this company is all in blue.
Wow.
And we also call it Blue Park here.
Wow, that's interesting. But do you assemble cars here?
Actually, we will not assemble cars here, but we test our cars here, we develop our cars here, and we design our cars here. Yeah. We can see that in front is actually a battery swap station.
Oh, over there, yes.
Yeah, and Mr. Jiang just said we serve lots of taxis in Beijing and in China, and you know the taxi drivers, they cannot stop, and the time is money.
They're very busy, yes.
Yeah, they're very busy. They can't stop and park and charge. So that is the best choice for them.
So how long does a car go through that container or that facility?
That facility is only 19 seconds. 90 seconds.
That's very fast. 90 seconds.
Much faster than that of you put gas right into this car.
So you just drive in?
May I put that into perspective?
Yes.
For an electric vehicle, it takes an average of about 30 minutes, I think, to charge it, even if you go with the fastest charging. And here, you don't have to wait that long.
You don't have to wait that long, and no matter how empty your battery is, you can just get there. After 90 seconds, you can fully charge the battery and go.
So it's mainly used by taxi drivers or taxis?
Yeah, taxi drivers and Uber drivers, DD drivers, they love it.
That's a good facility. And behind there, what is happening? We see test center?
Yeah, that's our test center, and actually we test nearly every part of the electric vehicles. You know, the safety issues of the electric vehicles is actually a very important part, and what we are working on is actually we test from very single parts like this small and into the batteries and to the whole vehicles. With all of the safety issues we test right in that test center.
To make sure that every element is of good quality, is safe. Okay.
Safe. You know, lots of companies, they cannot test that small. and all of them probably they always test in the whole vehicles. But the problem is that sometimes when you test, there'll be problems. They don't know where the problems come from.
Yes.
So if we can just test nearly every part, we know where's the problem, and after we test the whole car, there'll be totally no problem right there.
So you avoid the issue of recalls.
Yeah. Actually, not in this part. We also test in the coldest place in China, hottest place in China, and the wettest place in China.
Why those places?
Yeah, because the temperatures and is extremely important for the electric vehicles quality and safety. So we just test them in different places, and there'll be to guarantee there'll be no problems of the vehicle in such an extremely environment. So after if they can pass the test there, their performance extremely great quality in a normal way in a city like Beijing.
That's very
now
thorough.
Let's get to some of the questions from. Excuse me. Now let's first get to some of the questions from our viewers. For example, by the way, we can see all your comments, and if you have any questions about EVs or the EV market in China in general, while these gentlemen are here, you're welcome to leave your comments below, and we may be a bit slow in replying, but we will try to get to as many of them as we can. And here we got a comment from Giovanni Luca. Hello, and thanks for tuning in. Do you use more power if you have more weight in the car?
I'm sorry? Do you have more power if you have more weight? Actually, it's a really great question. For nearly the weight is actually extremely important for the electric vehicles, and there's an important way for the technology improvement is actually to reduce the weight of the vehicles, and. Actually, for every electric vehicle, it's a whole system. We can't just only say we add more weight to make a longer range, and because the more weight you're gonna add is actually have extremely important safety issues for normal vehicle driving. So it's actually a complex problem, but reduce the weight is an extremely important technology area for the electric vehicles.
So can you tell us what are some of the things that we can do to make our vehicles lighter? For example, the sports car that we just saw in there.
Yeah, it's all carbon
fiber. Yeah.
Actually, the electric we can probably find a car. We can say it. You can come with us. You can see the car of the electric vehicles. It's actually no longer steels. It's actually it's an integration materials to reduce the weight of it, and another important way for us to reduce is actually the weight of the batteries. We have to change the materials to optimize the infrastructures of the batteries to make it much lighter of the batteries, and just like these vehicles, we use more aluminum materials in this car to reduce the weight of the vehicle. The reason why for the probably very early generation of the vehicle is that the weight is extremely big, and that will limit the range of the limited range performance of the vehicle. And for now, this is actually our fifth generation vehicles, and the total weight have been reduced over probably 30% from very original, and the range of this vehicle, if you compare with the very first generation, that will be 4 times longer than the very first generation.
That's such a big improvement in such a short period of time, only a few years.
Only a few years. Because we have developed probably one generation. It's not one model. It's one generation within 2 years.
Wow.
And the performance is totally increased.
That is great.
Now you can say actually the charging point of the electric vehicle right here.
So this is a charger for an electric vehicle.
Charger for electric vehicles. You can see that nearly half the electric vehicles is actually charging here, and this is actually a slow charging point. It will take us about 8 hours to 10 hours to fully charge of a vehicle. And this part is actually a fast charging point, and it will take us only about 2 hours to fully charge the vehicles, and only half an hour from 30% to 80%.
Oh, that's pretty fast.
That's extremely fast.
And here I'd like to share with our viewers probably some of the Chinese terms that you're interested in. For example, for an electric vehicle, we have to charge it, and to charge, it's 充电.
充电.
Yeah, that's very good. 充电. And electric vehicles or new energy vehicles are 新能源.
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 Yes, and I'd like to add one more point, that you may have noticed that most of the cars in this parking lot have green license plates. And for new energy vehicles, they are identified with their green license plates. And at least in Beijing, if you see a vehicle with a green license plate, you can be sure that it's an EV. I know in some other places in China, such as Shanghai, plug-in hybrid cars also count as new energy vehicles. So in Shanghai, you may find some hybrids that also have green license plates. And for a traditional fossil fuel car, for example, that one, they have blue license plates.
You know, the good thing of working here is that you have lots of charging points in here.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Even though it's the charging speed is going to take lots of time to charge, yes. But actually for us, if we drive it in the morning here and we charge the whole day, and we can fully charge and go drive back home, and it's extremely convenient for us to drive electric vehicles here.
And I see you have other cars here.
Yeah.
I think those are the 3 cars that we can look at, and you can also tell us a bit more about those cars, the models, and how useful they are to consumers.
Useful.
Well, it depends on the taste. If you like the small car, that's good for maybe a single person who doesn't have a big family. And if you want a big car, some people like big cars, especially families. We saw one inside. So here, maybe you can elaborate a bit more on what we are looking at here on these models.
Okay. Ever since this building has built, for these 9 years, we have built about 20 models of electric vehicles, and you can see them by generation. And this car is actually a very entry-level electric vehicle. So it only takes about 100,000 RMBs, and it's actually a small car, but it's really useful car. And this car with a range of about 300 kilometers, and you can drive it. Probably good enough for you to drive just in the city, and if that's you said, if you're single, you don't need for such a big car, and this car is actually very good for you.
And also, if you don't have a big budget, it's good for you. Because a lot of people fear that, electric cars are very expensive, I cannot afford. So there is something for almost everyone.
Yeah, for nearly everyone. And of course, this car is actually the best seller for us in 2019.
And why is that?
Because this car is actually the best combination of the cost, of the price, and the utilities. And the performance of this car is really good.
So BAIC is known for producing cars that are low budgets, that are affordable to consumers, right?
Yeah. So actually for this car, if you probably have a higher requirements of the vehicles, this car, as what we have said, is actually good for you. It's actually it's more than electric vehicles. It's a smart car. You can use the autonomous driving system, and the space of this vehicle is extremely good, and the driver experience is actually much better. But this car, of course, the price is a little bit higher, but probably with the same price of the Tesla Model 3.
Is it also good off-road?
Yeah, it's extremely good off-road, and I used to drive it in the desert.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really
Which
nice car.
desert?
Oh, you didn't know electric cars can go into desert.
Yeah, it's to the desert and on a lake of the on an ice lake.
Yes.
When we winter test it, and the performance of it is extremely good. The desert is actually not far away from Beijing. It's just very close to Beijing. We call it Tianmo.
Oh yes.
We test actually the four-wheel drive in the desert, and we tried it. The performance of it is extremely good. You can drive actually nearly to anywhere.
That sounds awesome.
The slogan of this vehicle is called "Born Free."
Oh,
so
wow.
it's called you to go free with this car.
Yeah, and also the name ArcFox, it suggests it can go anywhere. If it can go into the Arctic Circle, it can go anywhere. It performs great in low temperatures.
Yeah, low temperatures, and the range of it is performs extremely good.
And here, may I ask you one of the questions from our viewers? So, hello, Mac Molinos. I'm sorry if I got your name wrong. So, Mac asked, can we order directly as a consumer here in the U.S.? So, our U.S. drivers are interested in our cars.
Probably I have to say sorry now.
Not yet.
Not right now. Yeah.
Not right now. But we have lab autonomous driving lab in the Silicon Valley. Mm-hmm. I used to be there, and actually we have Tesla vehicles right there, and we have plans to probably extend our selling network to the U.S. Probably if you want the U.S. you can order probably 2 or 3 years later, probably. Yeah, but this car is really good. It's really good.
I mean, if we may also look at the point that China is making deals with various blocs like the EU and other countries, which opens that opportunity for our viewers in the future to be able to have access to the cars that China produces, especially electric vehicles. So they can remain hopeful that sometime soon in the near future they can have access to these cars. Mr. Jiang just introduced this car. We cooperate with Magna. It's actually a car manufactured in Europe. And after we produce this car and Magna, they ask a lot of retailers from the EU. We have exported a few of this vehicle to the EU market, and the market reflection is really good. And they compare that with Tesla, with Audi e-tron, and after the comparisons, and these cars have lots of competitive powers to the market. So you are also hopeful that you'll make a breakthrough in these markets, these new markets. Yeah. Okay, that's very interesting. That's very good.
I also have another question which I should have asked earlier. What is the charging speed, and how fast? For example, this car, how fast can it go when it's plugged in?
For this car, if it's from empty, battery empty to fully charged, it will take about 10 hours. 10 hours for slow charge, and about 2 hours for fast charge. And if from 30% to 80% of fast charge, it only takes half an hour to charge it.
So no range anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me quickly make this point here that to our viewers, if you've had any experience with an EV, or if you're interested in this topic, you must have heard the term range anxiety. It refers to the fear that a driver feels when the range of his electric car in particular, drops so low that he is worried it may not make it to the next charger. We know that since electric cars don't have such a long history as fossil fuel cars, especially in probably 2013 here in China, when the market first began to grow, there weren't that many chargers around. But now we can find electric chargers for electric vehicles anywhere. For example, here, this parking lot, as we walked through here, almost every parking spot has a charger. So EV drivers today in China can pretty much charge everywhere. And chargers are largely located near busy areas, such as around shopping malls or at hotels. So if you're driving an EV on a trip, you can choose your hotel, stay there, plug in your car at night, and then you can set off in the morning with a fully charged battery. And for some car models or car companies, they also offer home chargers. You can install it at your own parking space and plug it in at night after you come back from work, and also set off in the morning with a fully charged battery, or whatever percentage you set the battery to be. Because for most of the EV batteries, it's good for the battery life not to charge it to the fullest. And I heard that 80% or 90% is best for the battery.
Probably the 80% is better. And if you want to just store this car for a longer time, my recommendation is to reduce the battery levels below 80% if you want to store it for a little bit longer time. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Why? Is it because it consumes less energy when it sits idle?
Actually, this for the battery life, they have two ways to charge it. And the first is the cycle life. Probably you use it on the charge it and make it empty, charge it empty. It's about 2,000 cycles. And another way we charge a vehicle is actually, we call it calendar life. It's just put it there. And for the calendar life, the better way to maintain a long life is not to charge that fuel. So if you want to store the battery, the better way of use is to make the capacity below 80%. And that would be better for your battery life of the electric vehicles.
And behind us, we see a big container.
Yeah.
What is this for?
Actually, after for currently there be a problem for the electric vehicles is the recycle of the battery. If the battery goes down, if the vehicle probably take about 8 years and the battery goes bad, how we recycle this vehicle? Actually, for the electric vehicles, if the capacity they can provide 80% of the battery of its power, we can treat it cannot be used on the electric vehicles. So where to go? Because if you directly put that on the ground, that will hurt the environment.
Yes.
And what our solution is that we put the battery as a storage containers. And so this part is actually a battery storage containers. And yeah. And
where would I find this container? In a rural community or here in the city?
Actually, we have two places to use it. One is just like Tibet, because the power grid they cannot reach there, and it's hard for them to use power, just like we use in the city. So we directly transfer such a container to there, and so that they can use solar energy and wind energies, and they can put the energies right into this box, right into this container, and this container can put more energies, just like if you want to charge your electric vehicles for daily life use, daily life power use. That's why we use it. And for some old communities in Beijing, the power capacity is a little bit low. They cannot extend more powers for the electric vehicles or for other use of electric powers. And so that if we have this container, we can directly set them up within 4 hours, and so that they can have more power capacities and for the daily use. And a battery. And a better way used is actually a backup energy station. And if we have some just like earthquake or some other disasters happens, and this can be used as a backup power.
So it solves a lot of problems.
Yes, so lots of and all of them is used for the use the batteries from the use battery of the electric vehicles, and actually the cost of this storage container is really low. We have because we just recycle them from the use the battery.
That's excellent.
How often do you recycle the batteries from electric vehicles? For example, how much degradation? Yeah.
As I've said, it's about 20% degradations, and we will treat this battery as a bad battery, so we're gonna recycle them. And,
it's still usable, but
yeah, of course it's still usable, but not be usable on the electric vehicles, but it's still used for the storage application.
And for an earlier generation vehicle, if the battery reaches its life, for example, it degrades 20%. After that degradation, how much capacity is there left in that battery?
Actually, there's still 80% of capacity of the battery is still left.
80%, and how many kilowatt hours?
Kilowatt hours. It's compared to the models of the batteries. Probably it's let me think. It's probably 20 kilowatt hours for one battery, or probably 40%. 40 kilowatt hours probably.
So a lot of battery packs with 20 kilowatt hour left.
Yeah,
put together. Yeah, they can generate a lot of power.
Actually, this container can support different models of batteries. Because for different vehicles, the battery models is a little bit different. So, but we can just put them all right in these containers. We have our technology to fully use every battery pack for every different models of the batteries. It's really useful now.
And your Mac who just asked a question is very supportive, and he says that I'll ask Washington D.C. to open the trade for your car. he likes BJ EV cars. He says they're beautiful.
I really appreciate that, and of course we will also tell our boss to probably catch the opportunities to export our cars to the U.S. and to the EU.
And we have very supportive viewers out there. We have Ray Wong, who says electric cars will reduce pollution, so he's supporting the whole initiative. Thank you very much for your comments. And let's see, people asking about the cars reaching the U.S. We've explained that.
But the reason why I work in this company is that I actually work in this company in the same year my daughter is born, and there's one day I just put the baby car right across a gasoline car, and the gasoline just start, and the sound and the pollution of tail gas get out, and I'm a little bit worried, the tail gas gonna hurt my kids. But for the electric vehicles, you can just put your kids there. It's very quiet. There's zero emissions for the babies, and I think that is actually the reason why I work for this company.
So did you switch from a fossil fuel car to an EV, or was your EV your first car?
Actually, of course, I switched my gasoline cars into electric vehicles, and I actually bought my first electric vehicle pretty early. It's about 2014. I got my first electric vehicle car.
Yeah, I know how EVs are like back then, because that was around the time when I first started paying attention to the EV market. So that makes you one of the earliest EV owners in China.
I experienced nearly every type of shortage of electric vehicles, just like probably if you want to drive on the road, and suddenly no power of the vehicles, and I've experienced lots of such a situation. But you know,
a lot of range anxiety back then.
yeah, you know.
But not anymore.
Not anymore. For current technology, we have probably 4 generations of improvement, and for now, the quality of the vehicles, the performance of the vehicles is actually much better. For me, I think that it's better than that of gasoline cars. You know, sometimes I go test drive some gasoline cars. I would say, wow, can this car move?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't get used to it.
And for EV drivers, they can never go back once they go electric.
Yeah.
And generally, EVs also accelerate a lot faster than gas cars.
Yeah.
It's because of the way they work.
Yeah, and you know, if I'm working here, so you can see there's lots of charging points here. So I don't need to spend more time to find a gas station.
Oh yeah.
I just stop here, charge my car, go to work, and after 1 day's work, I go back home with fully charged vehicles. It's actually more convenience, and it's actually more convenient.
So every parking spot has its own charging point.
Yeah, for this parking part is actually it's a heaven for the electrical vehicle users right in here. We have.
So let us show them their rows of chargers.
We have nearly 80% of the parking lot we have charging point right in here. We also left only 20% of the parking lots for the gasoline cars right in this area.
And when you charge an electric vehicle, the charge port can be located anywhere on the exterior depending on the design and model of the car. For example, the one that we just walked by, it was plugged in when we were speaking next to it, and the charge port was located right under the logo, so it's at the front of the vehicle. And for some other cars, you can find the charge port where you would normally find the fuel gap on a fossil fuel car.
Yeah. You know, for the latest technology, we're developing the wireless charging technology. You don't need to just plug in or plug out. You can just get there, get out of your car, and it can automatically drive to the parking lot.
Wow.
And charge automatically. You don't need to just get on, plug in, and get out.
It does it all on its own.
You don't need anymore. All you need to do is just park your car, go to the place you want, and the car will park by itself and charge by itself. It's really convenient in the future. Wow. We're actually developing the technology just right in that building. Wow. That's really cool. Yeah.
That is cool. It sounds cool.
Yeah, so that when that comes true, we will probably come back and do another live stream for the autonomous driving
and
feature.
Test drive.
You know, sometimes we also we're still developing the technology for the autonomous battery swap. That you can just park your car, you can just go away, let the car just stay in line by itself, and one car after one car that is battery swapped its battery, and another car would automatically just get into that station and swap the battery by itself, and you don't need to sit in that car. That will save lots of times.
You touched on the self-driving car. We know a lot of work is being done to make sure that eventually we have these cars being sold in dealerships, and people have these cars in their home garages, etc. How far, in your opinion, how far away are we from that?
Okay. Actually, some people will say for autonomous driving, it must be we don't need to care, we don't need drivers, we don't need to drive anymore. But actually, for me, in my opinion, the technology is developing actually step by step. When it's reached to different levels, you can say sometimes you can say, okay, today I still have to watch it, have to monitor it. Yes, I probably I've spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of time with probably just watch different place. And but if you want to say it's fully autonomous driving, I think probably still have 10 years to go, probably, in my opinion.
Oh, okay.
But probably every year, 2 to 10 years, you can see the difference.
There's some advancements being made.
There'll be some advanced. Okay, it's safer. It's actually I can rely more on the autonomous driving system. But for me, for now, my recommendation is still focus on
yes. Keep your eyes on the road.
And don't rely your family's life on the autonomous driving system.
Yes.
Yeah, even if the car is using its autonomous driving features, the driver still has to remain vigilant and be prepared to take over anytime in case of an emergency.
Yeah.
And since we mentioned autonomous driving, I'd like to share with our viewers that in Chinese that is 自动驾驶. Shall we do it together?
自动
which is autonomous, and driving 驾驶 autonomous driving, so that's 自动驾驶. And similarly, we sometimes also use the term 无人驾驶 when autonomous driving is realized, and we can go driverless. So that's driverless is 无人驾驶. Yes.
Was that perfect?
That was
Really close. Very close to perfect.
Very close.
Yeah,
Thank you.
especially considering this is your first try.
Thank you.
如果欧洲的朋友对我们产品感兴趣的话，大家可以期待一下，2022年的时候，我们的 ArcBoss 产品呢将会打入到欧洲市场，它也是国内首款获得欧洲准入的一款车型了。
Oh, that's exciting news. So Mr. Jiang just told us that friends in Europe, if you're interested in BJEV vehicles, their ArcFox model is going into the European market in 2022. So, yeah, that's next year, and it'll be their first car that they are going to market in Europe.
That's good news indeed.
Yeah. The good point for that is that we have to pass nearly all of the safety tests of the Europe of the European Union, because the test levels for them is actually higher than that of Chinese standard. So the reason why I can't put my kid in a car, the very basic very basic issue is that it has to be a safe car. So I think that the ArcBoss RT is actually a really good one, a reliable car, I think.
So when you test a car for European standards, for example, the car that you're preparing to export to Europe, do you actually test them in Europe under the real conditions, or do you monitor them here in China?
Of course, we have different levels. At first, we have to monitor them. It's actually not monitor them. We design it based on the EU standards. This is a very important thing, and we design for it. And of course, we test the first test and the first monitor here is of course right in China, and we export our vehicles to the Europe and ask them to test it to guarantee that this car can pass their standards there.
Are there partnerships with European authorities or European companies that will help make?
Just as I've said, the very important partners of us is Magna, and this car is the Magna is based on the Austria. Based in Austria, and so that they can help us to develop a car, to export our car to the EU market. Yeah.
How important are these partnerships with the foreign companies to bike and local companies here? As you seek to go out and maybe make inroads and enter markets outside China?
Actually, the most important thing, if you can performance better in the market out of China, is that the quality of the product must be extremely good. And actually, when we're trying to, and for now in Chinese market, we still can produce very low quality vehicles. We don't have market for that kind of vehicles. And actually, for now, this time for the RT, for this car, we're trying to develop some. We're trying to design this car and to develop this car. All of the standards is from the EU standards, and the quality of the vehicles is all similar to that of Mercedes and to the top vehicle manufacturers. So the quality of this vehicle is extremely good, and of course our partnership is actually located in Australia, in EU, so that they will say, okay, it's also our product. It's not only product from China. It's actually their product. So they will help us to export them and to get the license to sell in the EU market, and so that it's actually a win-win cooperation for both of us. And we probably in just like 2022 we can export our car to the EU market, and that will be a very exciting news for us too.
Yeah, and I think when you spoke about comparison, I think when you can compare the safety levels of electric vehicles and traditional car makers, but I don't think they are essentially the same. So other than their safety levels, in terms of the quality, I think we'll have to leave that to the drivers, because they have first-hand experience with what cars they drive or what cars they choose. And electric vehicles have a lot of advantages over the traditional fossil fuel cars.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know if some of our viewers have ever test drove an electric vehicle, but if you get a chance, I will highly recommend that you go on the test drive or at least ride in one. I promise that will be an entirely different experience. It's very smooth and it's also very quiet.
Very quiet, smooth, powerful. And if you have a chance to come to Beijing, you can just connect with us, and we can provide the test driving opportunities just right for you. You can just connect with us.
Yeah, so you heard him. BJEV is very happy to provide test drive opportunities.
Yeah, of course. You can maybe test drive nearly all of our vehicles, and we're going to produce new models right in this next month, and you can of course keep focus on us, on our news.
Just when we were coming in here, we saw by the gate that most of the cars coming in this park are BJEV cars. So does every employee here drive a car from this from their own company?
I can't say everyone. You know, for lots of our college actually come from the BIC group, BIC group, and of course for the group we have produced different models of cars. We still produce the gasoline cars. We still produce the batch gasoline cars in here. So lots of my college, they don't drive EV, but they drive the vehicles that's produced by our group.
I saw a comment somewhere. I'm sorry I couldn't find your name, but someone asked about the name of the company, and it's right there.
It's BIC, BJEV. Sorry.
Yeah, so BJEV is BIC Group's electric car company.
要咱进去说话，在这儿，因为我觉得这儿风景太好。
可以。里边咱们再讲讲。
可以，看你们，我是担心这儿风会比较大。
Yeah, shall we go inside and check out some of?
Yeah, we can have a seat and have a cup of coffee. You can try our coffee here.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
It's a bit chilly, so a cup of coffee would be great.
So I want to ask you, are there a lot of people around you who have switched from gasoline cars to EVs, or are there a lot of them who are showing their interest?
Actually, probably everyone around me is showing the interest in the electric vehicles for now. Actually, probably just like I bought my first electric vehicles, there will be very little people that saying, "Wow, electric vehicle can this car can move?"
Yes.
You suspect that, but for now, electric vehicles is just like a normal options for them. And lots of my friends, if they have experience to drive electric vehicles, they cannot go back. And probably at the very beginning they will choose a relatively lower price of the electric vehicles. They can just have a try. They don't want to spend so much money on it. But after they try this, they actually will go back and buy that.
Oh.
Lots of my friends just do the same thing.
Before I ask you to share your experience with an electric vehicle, let me go first because I am also the owner of an EV, and I went straight for electric. Yeah. My first car was fully electric, and my first experience, I think one of the things that I remember most clearly from my test drive experience is the acceleration. I really wasn't expecting it to go that fast, but the model that they gave me was the one with the best spec, the best wheels, the best power unit, best battery pack, but that was still pretty impressive. That was out of my expectation. So yeah, owning an EV is it's not only a different car, it actually is also a different way of life. And really, once you go green, once you go electric, you can't go back.
That's a true story.
So could you share with us why you decided to get an EV back then, 2014? That was still pretty early.
Actually,
one of the reasons you just said was that you were worried about your children's health.
And another way is that I just want to have a try. The first time I drive the electric vehicles, I was like, wow, this car can be that fast. Okay. So the next time probably I also the same. I would buy. It's actually not that expensive car. I probably just want to have a try, but when I just tried, I was like, wow, this vehicle is really good. I only spent about 100,000 RMB to buy my first car, and I was like, well, this car, the performance of this car is actually probably better than that of probably 20,000 RMB gasoline cars, and I would say, wow, this is the future of the vehicles. So that's actually the reason I bought more electric vehicles. For now, I have two electric vehicles in my family. There's a very interesting story. My daughter was there. My daughter was go to her grandma's home, and her grandma driving a gasoline cars, and when her grandma just got gas into the car, I was very curious. Why the car need gas? When she was born, she was born. We just trial her in the electric vehicles, and it's really used to charge it, and it goes different place and charge it. And when we guys go to a specific place named a gas station, she was very curious why a car need a gasoline car. So she just asked her grandma, why we need to put some liquid into a vehicle. She's very curious. Probably for her generation, and probably when she grew up, she was very used to an electrical vehicle world instead of a gasoline.
Yeah, I think in a few generations, young people will probably ask, what is a fossil fuel car?
Why we still need a gas station? They will also ask that. And for electric vehicles, it can save you lots of time. You don't have to do so much things to maintain such a vehicle, because the mechanical part is extremely easy. It's extremely easy for electric vehicles. You don't have to spend so much time to understand the comfort structures of the mechanical part, and all you need to do is probably just drive and just spend very little money to maintain it, and that's all you need to do.
That's a very good point. There is pretty much no maintenance required for electric vehicles. My car has been sitting idle for almost a month. I never, I haven't been using it that much recently, and I never have to worry about it. I don't have an experience with fossil fuel cars, but some of my friends told me that their maintenance can cost up to 8,000 yuan.
That's very
and I also know that you may have to take it back to the factory or go back to the service center every few thousand kilometers. And you also have to worry about the engines, and I'm no expert on that, but I don't have to worry anything about my EV. And all I did, I've owned it for almost 2 years, and all I did was change. I didn't even change it. I asked the mechanics to take out the filter of my HVAC, clean it, and put it back, and it was completely free. So
I mean, I've owned a manual fossil fuel car, so I would say what you are explaining is absolutely true, because it also takes time for your car to be serviced, and you can be without a car. Some people are without cars for the whole day. So I think switching to an EV sounds like a very good idea, because it spares you all that trouble. Maybe if I can have a question on, you spoke about something being easy, but here's the question that I have on the easy part. Has it become easier to convince people to consider buying or just buying an EV nowadays in China?
Actually, it's actually much easier for now. It's in comparison with that probably 5 years ago. Actually, for probably 5 years ago, if you ask the people that to buy electric vehicles, they will think, well, there were lots of questions. And for now, they actually don't have so many questions. They only compare different brands, different products, and they will think, okay, electric vehicles is actually a good choice for a car. And I think that for now, for our studying experience, I think for now we don't need to experience. Okay, this is why. What's the benefit of the electrical vehicles? You only experience what's the benefit of this product. So that is actually the total different thing.
So people are more informed about the electric vehicles.
There be some people just like my mom and my parents and their friends. They'll say, is it the electric vehicles? If it's not, okay, I'm not buying that. They'll have such a question. If you ask them probably 5 years ago, you ask them, hey, you want to buy electric vehicles? They say no. I would not consider about that. And probably 5 years ago, people just like me, I'd like to take something new. Probably just like the first generation of iPhone. Everybody knows it's probably not that good phone, and we want to try it. But for now, for iPhone, everybody just want an iPhone. They cannot go back to change it to Nokia for Nokia phone. So this is probably the same thing. And for China, we have giant market for the electric vehicles, and it's not only about the infrastructures. You can see the charging points nearly everywhere here in China, but probably 5 years ago, it's hard for you to find one, to find a charging point. And for now, you can see nearly everywhere. So everybody can, when they drive to the parking lot, they will say, okay, there is the charging point there. I can buy an electric vehicle, so I can charge here. I don't need to worry about there being no charging point for me. Last week I drive my vehicle to Zhangjiakou. To the Olympic Park there, and I can find a charging point in the hotel. So I drive there. I drive about 300 kilometers there, and I charge my car after a night, I can drive my car back here. Drive a fully charged car back here. So I don't need to worry anything about that.
So they go fast and they are convenient. And there's one other good news for if you drive an EV in China, at least here, they are cheap. Because electricity is a lot cheaper than gasoline. So how much does it take to fully charge the EV that you're driving?
Actually, it depends on the place. And if you charge it at home, it only take about 40 cents for every kilowatt hours. And if you charge probably in a mall or in a hotel, it probably takes about 2 yuan, about 2 yuan for every kilowatt hours. There'll be lots of difference. But if we want to say about this car, like this car, they have totally 90 kilowatt hours. If you want to fully charge it, it's gonna take you about over 100, close to 200 yuan.
Even if you charge at the highest rate, it's still a lot cheaper than if you fill the tank, fill the gas tank of a gasoline car. I'm sorry, please continue. I just a point just slipped my mind. I was going to mention some. Electric taxis. We took a taxi here, and it ran on fossil fuel, and it cost 110 yuan our
journey here.
But electric taxis, BJEVs, electric taxis in Beijing, their fares are a lot cheaper, not by a lot, but there's still a difference. For example, prices for an fossil fuel taxi start at 13 yuan. Is it still 13 yuan today?
I'm not that sure about that, but it's really close to that.
Let's just say it's 13, which is about a little over 1.5 US dollars. That's the starting price, and it increases the further you go. But if you hail an electric taxi, prices start at 10 yuan, and the difference will become bigger the further you go. So the longer you ride in a taxi, the bigger the difference will be between if you hail a fossil fuel taxi and the electric one.
But the electric taxi drivers, they can make more money because the cost of them is actually much lower than that of the gasoline vehicles.
Wow.
They don't need to spend their time to maintain about a taxi, about their vehicles, and they can swap their batteries in an extremely short time. They don't need to stop there. They just go and make money. Always drive and make money.
So probably on our way back, we can try and hail an electric taxi. Do you know if we can do that? Do I get to choose which one to get in my hailing app?
Probably maybe. 他们现在能叫到一个纯电的出租车？
能选吗？
能选。
好像是不能。
It's a little bit hard. That's a little bit hard.
So it's random. It depends on which driver is faster in picking up my order.
There is a very funny thing is that right in Yizhuang, in this place, and we have Baidu's autonomous taxi. You can test drive them, but you have to pre-order that. You can use a phone and all that, but they can't serve for today. They probably serve tomorrow. And maybe next time, if you want to be here, you can just
try it. Okay, that would be nice. That would be interesting.
It's totally autonomous driving, but right in this area.
Right now, it's only limited in this area.
It's only limited in this area.
Do the cars also join public traffic here, or is it only designated road that they can
in the open road? In the open road.
Okay. So for someone who's new in this area, how will they differentiate between an autonomous vehicle and a normal EV?
Actually, the sensors of autonomous driving of the autonomous taxi it's really obvious. You can tell them by their sensors there, and it's fully autonomous driving taxi. They have lots of sensors there. But just for the production vehicles, just like that one, the RT, it's all integrated in the car. You cannot tell it's an autonomous driving car from outside.
Yes. I think I've seen a few of those autonomous vehicles around. Yes.
Yeah, next time you see one, you can
You can just
raise
stop
up your
there,
hand
yeah.
and hail it.
And hail it, yeah. I'll try, of course.
Okay. Now I'd like to review some of the Chinese terms that we've covered in today's live stream. So to start, I think our first term that we shared was charging or
Yes.
charge. That's 充电.
充电.
To charge an electric vehicle, 充电.
充电.
And also 自动驾驶, that's autonomous driving.
自动驾驶.
自动驾驶.
自动
驾驶。
驾驶.
Yes.
Oh.
You got two teachers. Yeah, good
Thank
job.
you.
Good job.
谢谢.
And I want to mention another term that may have caught your interest right outside when we walk by that battery swap station. When you want to swap the battery of a vehicle instead of charging it, for the swapping, it's 换电.
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 Yes. Can we also say 换电池? That doesn't sound.
那我们一般说换电站。换电站。
Okay, so yeah, that container-like structure that we saw there is a 换电站. It's a battery swap station. 换电站. Yes. Okay, that brings us to the end of this live stream. I want to thank Pearl, Mr. Cao, and Mr. Jiang for joining us today, and thank you for sharing with us so much information about EVs, and in particular about BJ EVs, electric vehicles. I hope you had as much fun watching this live stream as we had presenting it, and thank you for joining us. You can find us on Facebook, on YouTube by searching Learn Chinese. And if you're interested in more news coverage, you can also search the Beijing Hour on both Facebook and Twitter. And thank you for joining us today. I hope you have a great day and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.